Hi friends, I got a few requests about knowing more about what to start when we start solid foods to our baby. So in today's video, I'll cover what are stage 1 baby foods, what is a good time to start solid foods for your baby, what are the signs that you can look for, how many times and what quantity should you feed your baby, and then lastly, what are the different options that we have for a baby between 6 and 8 months old. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is when we start solid foods, don't look at it just as an activity or just another thing in your baby's life. It's a major milestone, and you need to understand that this is a foundation that we lay for their future health. You can also take this as an opportunity to teach your baby good food habits, also good routine, and if we do it in a structured proper way, your baby will be trained to eat all the food items that you have, all the variety of foods that you offer to her or him, and also they will learn that there is a definite time to eat. So it helps. A lot of parents have issues with making their kids sit at one place and eat. So it is a two-way lane when it comes to teaching your baby to eat well, and one part, the major part, is on us, how well we train them and how well we create the environment for them to enjoy their meal, and at the same time how nutritious and fresh food we can offer to them. So now let's see when to start solid foods for your baby. We all know that till your baby is 5 or 6 months old, he or she will be exclusively breastfed or formula fed depending upon the situation, and only after 6 months we are supposed to start solid foods. In some cases, if the baby achieves the weight, certain milestone of weight earlier, or if the baby is showing sign that she is ready for outside food, your pediatrician may advise you to start solid foods earlier than that, that is about 5 months. But before that, no baby will be advised to be given outside food. There are a few signs that you can look for in your baby to see if the baby is ready. So first of all, the baby should have neck control. You know that when we hold the baby, initially we have to support the baby's neck with your fingers, but eventually about 4 months or so, the baby starts to hold her neck. So by the time you are considering solid foods, your baby should have good head control. There is another thing called as extrusion reflex in babies. This is for your baby's safety. Actually, Mother Nature has given this reflex to us when we are tiny, so that if a solid food does enter your baby's mouth by mistake, naturally the baby will not swallow it. It will throw it out, because that's how Mother Nature protects your baby against choking hazards or digestion related issues. So up to the point where your baby has that reflex, know that your baby is not ready for outside food. When your baby becomes about 5 or 6 months old, you will see that the baby moves the food in her mouth a couple of times and then she's able to swallow it, which means the extrusion reflex is slowly going away, and this is another sign that your baby is ready for food. Third major sign is the weight gain. There is a certain weight gain that the baby has to achieve before you start outside food. And apart from all this, the main thing I would like to highlight is, make sure you talk to your pediatrician on your monthly visits to the doctor. The best approach is go with a list. You do your homework, go with a list of foods that you would like to start. Mention it to the doctor that at 6 months I would like to start with this, at 8 months I am planning to give this, and let the doctor review it and tell you which one is the good option to go for. So what are stage 1 baby foods? Stage 1 baby food is nothing but the food that we offer to the baby as a first food at around 5 or 6 months. So first of all, the stage 1 baby food will be extremely runny. It has to be smooth consistency, like soupy consistency, and it has to be very well cooked. Secondly, it has to be strained. It shouldn't have any kind of texture or lumps or chunks in it. It should be smooth, runny paste or puree. This is because up till now your baby has been taking only mother's milk, breast milk or formula milk, which means he is only able to swallow liquid consistency yet. So we want to train the baby over a period of time from 6 months to 12 months. We get the chance to train the baby to move towards actual solid food. So the initial food has to be runny. Another thing to consider is breast milk has special enzymes in it that allows the baby to digest the milk easily. The baby's digestion system is only prepared to digest that. So when we give outside food, which means that the baby's digestion system is still getting used to it, it's still not completely ready to digest it. So to aid the digestion process, we need to make sure that initial foods, anything that you offer to the baby, has to be well cooked and then properly made into puree using your mixer grinder or food processor. That's why we even cook the fruits when we initially offer the fruits to the baby. And last thing to consider is that you need to observe closely whenever you offer something to the baby to see if there are any allergies for the baby. Initially, for at least every time you offer a new item, make sure you observe closely if the baby is digesting it well and it's not causing any allergy to the baby. Next important question is, and I think all the mothers including myself struggle with this, is how much do we need to offer the baby, how much the baby will be eating, and secondly, how often do you give food to the baby. So first let's see the how often part. For the first 1 or 2 weeks, I'll say, let's say I literally started exactly at 5.5 months for my baby. So for first 2 weeks, I only offered her once a day. All the other meals were breast milk. So for once a day, and I chose the time to be her breakfast time. So when all of us have breakfast, that's the time when I used to give her a fruit puree, ragi porridge, or rava kheer, suji kheer. So that's the time that I had chosen. That's for approximately first 2 weeks. Beyond that, you will slowly introduce another meal. That I'll suggest to keep it as the lunch. Give formula or breast milk when the baby wakes up. For breakfast, you will give one outside meal. Again, in the mid snack, you will again give breast milk. And for the lunch, outside food. And then for the rest of the day, you will continue with your breast milk or formula milk as before starting the solid foods. Now the important question, how much? So understand this, your baby is used to breast milk or formula milk which has a sweeter taste, which the baby has adjusted to now. So you are introducing something new. So give the baby time, don't rush it. And initially the baby will only eat 1 or 2 spoons. Yeah, that's right, only 1 or 2 spoons. And do not try to force her to eat. Believe me, if you try to force them to eat now, it will become a tug of war forever, and the baby will never learn to enjoy it. So make sure if the baby is taking 2 spoons, feed 2 spoons and slowly go on increasing. You will know the baby will lead you, and slowly the capacity will increase. So to summarize, we will be feeding 1 meal in the first 2 weeks, 2 meals up to 8 months, and in the beginning it will be 1 or 2 spoons, and then later on you can increase up half a cup at the max, and some babies rarely will go beyond that. Do not push a baby, that's not going to make her chubby. Now let's see a few options that we can offer. First, let's see fruits. So in fruits, my favorite, basically my baby's personal favorite was a ripe banana. In India, you get those small elaichi banana. I don't know exactly. I think they are from Kerala or somewhere. The small yellow bananas. They're really nice. And she used to eat 1 full banana in one sitting. And make sure that they are ripe. You can boil an apple and make a puree of it, and the apple sauce is nice. Both these recipes you can find on my YouTube channel. A third option is, as per the season, you can offer a ripe mango. I suggest you start it at around 7th month, not 6th. And again, you start with 1 spoon or so. So ripe mango puree. And we in Maharashtra believe that with amras, which is basically amras, without any added elaichi or anything, no sugar, no elaichi, but you can add a little bit of ghee. That makes it easier to digest. Again, start with 1 spoon or 2 spoon, that's it. And you can also try to give pomegranate juice, and what you can do is you can grind it and just strain it and just offer that juice to the baby. So these are the food options. You can also give peach puree if you have peaches in season wherever you live. So those are the fruit options. In vegetables, you can give carrot soup. So again, that recipe is there on my channel. Another vegetable would be sweet potato. So boil it, mash it, mix some formula milk or breast milk and make it a bit runny, and you can offer that. So these are the two vegetables. Apart from these, I am sure there are other vegetables that you can offer. These are the two that I offer to my baby between 6 and 8 months. In cereals or grains, my personal favorite again is ragi satwa or nachni satwa. So nachni porridge is one that you can give. Suji kheer or rava porridge is again something that you can offer. Oats porridge you can give. Dal soup you can give. So there are a couple of options there. From around 7 months of age, you can also start rice cereal, moong dal cereal, a mixture of moong dal and rice cereal. So from around 7 months, even those options are available to you. Also at around 7 months, you can introduce dry fruit powder to your baby. It's really healthy, and you can include it in the porridge. You make sure that you make it really fine. Maybe use a base of sugar to make it really powdery, and then strain it to make sure that there are no grains or no lumps in your baby's food. So those are all the options that you have, and you have all these recipes on my YouTube channel, so make sure you go through them. Now some tips from my experience. First, do not start anything without mentioning it to your doctor. Take your doctor's advice before starting any solid foods for your baby. Secondly, it has to be runny. Whatever you feed the baby, at least for the first 2 to 3 weeks, it has to be really runny, and it has to be cooked very well. Third tip is to start the meal, whatever meal you give, make sure you give it in the morning as a breakfast or lunch. That will give you the whole day to observe whether your baby is digesting it properly. Is she having any trouble with the food? And secondly, if there are any allergies that are occurring because of the food. So it will give you time to observe and act accordingly if required. Another tip is try to keep your baby's utensils separate. The bowls, spoons, and maybe even the pots in which you cook, and make sure that you clean them thoroughly right away. So if you cooked and fed, you clean them right away. Generally we keep in the sink and we then clean everything together. With the baby's utensils, try not to do that. Another tip is try to feed the baby at the same time every day. So if you are starting your baby's meal as the breakfast meal, try to give the meal at, let's say, 9 AM every day. So actually it's a task for you, but believe me, later on it will make your life really easy. So try to give her the same meal at the same time. So if you're offering breakfast, try to give it at 9 AM every day. And the final tip is keep a gap of an hour or hour and a half between your formula feed or breastfeed and your solid food. So basically the gap that you generally have between 2 feeds. So that will make sure that the baby has digested the milk and now is getting hungry for your solid food. So those are all the tips and all the information from my end. Lastly, I would like to say that I am not an expert, or I am not a doctor or a pediatrician or a nutritionist. All the information that I have given you, or all the tips that I have given you, is everything that I have personally tried for my baby, and it has successfully worked for us. Do let me know in the comment box below what you feel about this video, if there is anything else that you would like to know more. And do browse my channel, because most of the recipes that I have talked about in this video are already there on my YouTube channel, and I'll be adding a few more. So thanks for watching and take care. Bye bye.